Oh, that was so far off center. That was weird. If anyone's watching and saw my timer move, it was super off center and it was bothering me, so I moved it.
Creepy things happening behind the scenes.
Yeah. All right, ready, set, let's do this. Hi, we're back.
Good evening. Happy Hump Day. Welcome.
Happy hump. Yeah, it is.
It's
hump
Wednesday.
Day. Yeah, I suppose it is.
I don't
hump
make
day.
these things up. It's Hump Day.
You
Hi.
didn't make it up.
I didn't make up that
It's hump day.
No, I didn't
Okay,
not
cool.
making up that it's Wednesday. I mean,
Well,
it's
no,
Wednesday.
I know. Never mind.
He
Give
might.
me shit.
Thanks, jerk.
You're welcome.
Welcome.
Wife. Hi.
What a start, eh? I'm Canadian. What a start.
Apparently, I married a Canadian. We're not Canadian. We're maybe like Southern Canadian since we're Minnesotans.
But we do live north of Little Canada.
It's true. We live north of Little Canada, which is basically actual Canada. Pretty much big Canada.
It's wow. All right. Well, so hey,
Yeah.
what's up, friend?
Hey, we're doing a thing today. It's the same thing that we've been doing for the last 2 weeks if you've been hanging out with us.
Yeah.
If not, just to recap, there is some older research out there that suggested that it is possible to encourage two people to fall in love with each other. And that research has built up over time. People have done more and more research on that, and they've now boiled it down to these 36 questions they believe might encourage people to fall in love. And so we are taking a look at those 36 questions. We are on number 23 of 36.
Now, keep in mind, we've been married for 16 and a half years, so we're not answering these questions to try and fall in love with each other. We did that. We're good. We've been together 16 and a half years. Sorry, married 12 and a half. But
See, I'm usually the one that screws that up.
yeah, it feels like we've been married 16 and a half years. So we're just going through them for fun because why not?
Yeah.
And I think it's also interesting to like kind of get the perspective of a couple that's been married for a while.
Yeah, so like some of these things are going to be answered a little bit differently because we've been married for as long as we have.
Like there was a question or a thing last week about tell the other person your life story in 4 minutes. And we're both like, well, I only would probably need 2 because up until 16 and a half years ago, like that's when I met you. I'm 38. So...
And also, I think the end of this thing, it says stare at your partner for 4 minutes.
We're not doing that on air.
Silently.
We might do it.
We're not going to do that because it just would be weird. And it wouldn't really make good content for people to just be staring at us, staring at each other. Like,
let me tell you, friends, I actually just talked about this with a friend of mine who's helping someone do some wedding planning. When we got married... We had already been to so many weddings because we got married when we were 25 and 23. So we'd already been to a ton of weddings. And we were doing Unity Candle, and we knew that we didn't want a song to be played that like would go on for like 3 minutes after the candle lighting was done and we were back in our spots. Because then we're literally just staring at each other, and then the pastor, and then everyone's staring at us.
You're literally just standing there like this. La 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 la. Well, the music's playing.
I mean, it's like the happiest day of your life, right? And it's exciting, and you love this person very, very much, but just staring at them for like 3 minutes while music plays. So we asked
it's super awkward.
So the musician was, what do you want to have for the processional and the recessional? Are you doing anything in between? And we're like, is there, because we got married in December, is there any like holiday sounding hymn that you can wrap up at any point? And he just played a couple of bars from this tune, and we're like, that sounds lovely. And you can just end that when we're done. He's like, sure can.
That and our whole ceremony, like from the time that Pastor Jean started to the time that she was like, okay, go back down the aisle, was like 15 minutes.
It's great.
Tops.
It's great.
So.
All right.
We did not have the shortest wedding, by the way. We have now since been to probably 2 shorter ones.
Is this the one we went to last summer?
Diane's daughter.
That was shorter?
Was it?
No, I think...
That was the one we went to last year.
Wasn't it Danielle
That was
Andrews?
Yes, there's a super short. Yes.
If you're watching, hey guys. Yeah, it was like 7 minutes. I think
It was super.
It was
duper
amazing
short.
because then we just got back to the snacks and the beer
And the beer.
and the
party.
dancing, and
yeah.
that was great. And they had great barbecue. It was fantastic. I was pregnant, so I enjoyed all of that very much. Not the beer, just all the food. Do we want to have the chat up? Do you want to see that?
Yeah,
at all?
we'll do that in a
Okay.
second. Okay, so I don't
Never-
think we're going to recap all
No, let's not.
22 of the previous
Nah.
questions because that's a lot of them.
You can access it all on YouTube if you really want to.
Yeah, on
watch
the
it all.
interwebs.
Number 23.
Let's see. There we go. Hi, Miss Meredith.
So we didn't know you were here till just now because we just pulled up the chat.
No, I think she just said that.
Okay.
So we're good.
How close and warm is your family? And do you feel your childhood was happier than other people's? If you haven't been tuning in, first of all, welcome. If you haven't been tuning in, I will just say that my whole family is deaf. My parents and my brother are deaf. My brother's girlfriend is deaf. She comes from a deaf degenerate 5 generation, I think.
Not
deaf family.
degenerate.
5 generation deaf. Sorry, let's just say that real clear.
They're a bunch of degenerates.
No, that's not what I. That came out bad, probably, or no. I don't
It's
know.
fine. We'll just fix it in post.
We will not. 5 generations.
There's
of
no
death.
post-production on this stuff.
There's no fancy anything. Well, there's some fancy things.
What's going on, Bruce? How you doing?
So,
Cheers.
oh yeah, hey, what did we get? Can we talk about this real quick? This is super
Yes,
exciting.
let's interrupt our questions because we have a fun new beer.
Yay! Thank you, Matt and Savannah.
Yes, thank you to our friends Matt and Savannah who were at a wedding out in the general area of Nashville and
They were in
stopped by
Ohio.
Nashville. Well, but it's not that far.
Right, and they took a
other
vacation.
side of Ohio from you, Bruce, not that side. So they stopped in Nashville because they also really like Nashville. I do too.
Mm-hmm.
And stopped at one of our favorite breweries, which is Bearded Iris, and they brought us back a. So this is kind of crazy.
Keg.
They have a keg, but it's not actually like a metal or a steel keg. It's recyclable plastic.
It's huge.
It's big. Well, it's a quarter barrel. It's not a. It's not
Well,
a
I'm
six.
excited for that long-lasting goodness.
Yeah, so it's like an extra 2 gallons compared to what we normally get.
And also, they brought us back a onesie for Lucas because they're very good friends of ours, and they love that kind of cutesy stuff. And it has like a guitar logo, like the top of the guitar on it. And I bought a shirt last year when we went down there when I was pregnant with Lucas.
I go there for work, or used to go there for work on a regular basis.
Yeah, so I joined him on a work trip
through
for kind of
Manheim
like
Auto Auctions.
Yeah, I joined him for like kind of like a baby moon type thing. And I went to the Opry. I took a tour. I decided I'm going to buy a ticket. I'm going to go take a tour of the Grand Ole Opry because that's what my grandma would have done if she went because she loved country music, both of them. And I bought a shirt from the Opry that had the same, like the exact same like design as the design on the onesie. So I'm like, what are the chances? So I'm very excited for him.
Probably came from the Opry. They stayed
No.
near the Opry.
It might have, but it doesn't say Opry on it.
Oh, I don't
Anyway.
know.
So,
Anyway.
how warm?
So tonight we are drinking a fun new out-of-state beer.
Yay,
Hooray!
Nashville. I'm looking forward to when it's safe to go back there. Like,
Yeah, which is
when the auctions are open
Bearded
again?
Iris. What the heck is it?
That's not what it's called.
No, that's the brewery. It's a triple IPA, and it is called.
I like it.
No, it's a double IPA. It's double dry hopped Tunnel Vision, is what it is.
It's good stuff. And I would not have said that about an IPA.
No, you really wouldn't have.
I'm not gonna say a year ago because a year ago I was pregnant, so I for sure wouldn't have. But I don't know if it's a pregnancy thing because I know that your taste can change after pregnancy, or if
It's
it's
a
just
pandemic thing.
or if I've just gotten used to it because you've been having kegs and we've been. And it's summertime, and like.
And I haven't gotten around to putting a second tap on the keg, and so it's basically just been inexpensive IPAs.
I usually don't like IPAs. I usually like right off the bat. I'm like,
And so that's all we have to drink, and so you've just been
I
drinking
got
them. And I
used
think
to
you may
it.
have gotten used to them.
I like this one. Is actually really good. I know he's stoked. I am too because stouts and beers that I like are hard to in this they're not good summer beers. They're terrible summer beers. I do like a good Berliner and a couple breweries here in Minnesota, Black Stack and Barrel Theory. I'm sure many other breweries I'm not naming all of them, do really, really amazing Berliners. But they're not available in kegs generally because they're so specific and they use limited edition ingredients or expensive ingredients and whatnot. So, and I mean, Blackstack has had a few good, like, you know, Pilsners or I don't even know what else. I don't know the style of beer that I can't think of.
Okay.
But anyway, what?
Porters?
No.
Okay.
What did I just have? The Chess Club.
Oh,
Blonde Ale.
that was a blonde ale, yeah.
They have other light beers. They have a wheat beer that's really good, but you know, he's the keg master, and so I'm willing to try, and I like so.
It's because they're relatively inexpensive in a keg, and they're really high ABV.
Meredith,
so...
here's the deal. I get it. I totally get you. Like I said before I was pregnant, IPAs, and even like, yes, I had sips of beer while I was pregnant and near the end there. Even then I was like, ooh, IPA, ooh, but I think I've just gotten used to them because you've had them in kegs.
But Kolsch's aren't like 8% alcohol.
I do like Kolsch's too. I enjoy Kolsch. I love like Modest here in Minnesota has a really good golden coffee ale. Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
Yeah, delicious.
First call, yeah.
It's a lighter beer. Anyway. So how close
we
and
digress. This is Wednesday, not Sunday. We talk about beer on Sunday. We talk about beer on Sunday in this channel.
We talk about beer whenever we want.
With He Married My Sister.
Hey guys, if you're watching.
They're on the chat.
They are? Hi guys.
Yeah, I don't know which one of them it is, but yes.
Because I frequently join the chat on their show. One of these days, I'm going to be on your show, aren't I?
Yeah.
We do some tasting
Yeah.
in a few weeks.
Oh, okay. So for sure. So the Beer Dabbler. It's a. I don't know if it's a national organization or local, but anyway, they organize beer tastings and these big beer festivals
with lots of people that we can't be around
with a lot
right
of people, which obviously is not a great idea right now. So one of the local liquor stores is now organizing a Beer Dabbler in a box, and so you can order this box of 12 beers. I'm not going to drink 12 beers on my own, so Sarah's definitely going to help me.
So I'm going to join the show. I don't even know when it is.
Probably in 2 weeks when our Cicerone Chris is available.
Sweet.
We have our very own beer Cicerone.
It's like a sommelier.
Which is like a wine sommelier or like an expert.
Yes. So I'm excited because I watch your beer show, and actually Lucas really enjoys watching the beer show before he goes down for a nap. Mostly he just enjoys watching Dad on the laptop. And eating the laptop. It's fine.
Eating the laptop.
Lucas is our almost 8-month-old child, for those who don't know. But yeah, so we watch the beer show. We're fans. I chime in on the chat all the time. And now your co-hosts are like, oh, your wife is commenting. Like, they know who I am now. So yes. Okay. So how close and warm?
Okay. So back to yes.
How close and warm is your family, and do you feel your childhood was happier than most other people's?
By the way, there are some of these questions that we may or may not answer, sometimes because they might involve like people that are watching or our family members who might happen to see this at some point on the internet.
Yeah.
So
like I was saying, I come from a deaf family, and deaf culture is very I don't want to say touchy-feely, but it is warm. Like, hugs are a thing. Like,
very huggy.
Hugs are a thing in deaf culture. You hug. You don't just... If you shake hands, you do the bro hug. You shake and you bring it in for, like, a real...
You do this.
But it's like... But it is like... You can hear it. You can hear the slap. It's intense.
But that's because they don't know that it makes that loud of a noise.
No, but it's a hard slap, so I imagine it's not super comfortable either.
Yeah, your dad and your brother. Yeah, both.
Which is fine. They love you. So my family's but that also has made us very close and warm, which is funny because growing up, I actually wasn't super into hugging my extended family. Like my uncle, my aunt, my grandmas I think I was okay with. But I wasn't really into hugging.
Come on, I hugged your grandmas.
When I was little. My cousins and I weren't really into hugging the aunts and uncles. I don't really know what that was.
We were really close to two of your aunt slash
But
uncle.
that was just kind of their personality too, like not super huggy. And then as we got older, now whenever I see my cousin, we do a hug. You know, like we are much more huggy and stuff as we've grown up. But my family's
no huggy, only elbow bumps now.
With family, I don't know. We gave my brother and sister-in-law hugs when we saw them this weekend.
It's true, we did.
They
asked first, but
they
yes.
did. They're like, hug? We're like, yeah, sure.
And we trust them. They're safe
They're
people.
doing the
They're
things.
not. Yeah.
So my family is super close. Sometimes maybe too close, but we just know a lot about each other's lives, basically.
Yeah.
But very warm, very welcoming. Do I think that my childhood was happier than other people's? I think it was kind of equal to a lot of my friends. I had a good childhood. I was just talking about this with my book club, my work book club today, that I have very fond memories growing up. We were talking about like summer memories. What does summer remind you of as a kid? And just fond memories growing up, lots of fun memories with my family. So yeah, we were very close. My brother and I got closer when I went off to college. The distance, I think, and him being a junior in high school when I went to college, and kind of growing up and being like, oh my god, mom is so annoying, and like messaging each other and having our own relationship develop. And yeah, I'd say we're pretty warm and close.
My family wasn't like super like physically close. Okay, we weren't super touchy, huggy, kissy people. Closeness, yeah, we're a very close family. We've been through quite a bit, especially in the last 15 years. And so we've relied on each other a lot more.
And you're the only ones in Minnesota.
Yeah, and we're the only ones in Minnesota. So all of my extended family is out on the East Coast.
Or Florida. Or Indiana.
Or Florida or Indiana. Yeah, so east of Minnesota. And not, like a 2-hour drive or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So yes, I would say the extended family is much more like huggy.
I was just gonna say they're cheek kissers.
Yes.
Which that's your dad's side. Your dad's side, they're cheek kissers. Yeah. Which I'm.
Well, my mom's side only has 2.
Yeah, but they
remaining family members. So
okay, but I'm just saying, whenever we went out to visit, like whenever we see your family, I visited both your mom and your dad's family, and your dad's family is like
they're very huggy, kissy,
like not the French kiss, but they're like the kiss the cheek,
not the no,
they're not French.
But. Do you feel your childhood was happier than most people's? Okay, so for me, I guess that's tough because that gets into the question of, well, does money buy you happiness?
Nah.
I don't know. There are studies that would suggest that the answer is no. I kind of to some degree would disagree with that. They say like, oh, it matters only up to a certain point, and that certain point is essentially where you have your basic needs met. Mm-hmm. I get what it's saying. What those studies are suggesting is that you're not struggling. You're not like wondering where your next meal is coming from. You're not worried about how you get into school. You're not worried about is mom and dad going to come home for whatever reason, right? Mm-hmm. So I get that. That said, no, I think that I had a much happier childhood than a lot of people, I would say. And yes, I think part of that has to do with the access to things that we had growing up. And that's, going on vacations that a lot of people didn't get to go on, having the things, living in the neighborhood that we did. Yeah, I would say that money can buy you a lot of easement in life. I guess that's not the same thing as happiness, but
you definitely, like, I don't know if vacations like made you happy, but you definitely have a lot more travel experience than I do.
For sure. Well, and I have good memories of those things. I have good memories of Hawaii and Australia and like going out to the East Coast and California and Texas. I've been to like 20-something states, I think.
And I don't mean to say that like if you didn't travel a lot, that doesn't mean you can't have happy memories.
No, for sure. Or if your vacation is like get into the camper and we're going to go up north, absolutely. Create those awesome, inexpensive memories.
Just talking about how like growing up, we definitely did the very standard, typical Midwest road trip out to the Black Hills, South Dakota, Sioux Falls. I mean, if you grew up in the Midwest and you didn't do that, like, I'm not saying that like it's a bad thing, but a lot of people I know who grew up in the Midwest, that was a trip your family took. So we did that, and then we did take a trip to Florida when I was in 7th grade, and that was super fun. I have such great memories of that too. That was super duper fun.
Same with my mom, dad, sister, family here. No one else. Like,
Right.
do you mean that everyone else is like out of state? And did they move away, or did you move here? Like, who moved from whom?
Because you moved away from the East Coast.
Correct. My parents moved away from the East Coast.
Because you were adopted into Ohio. I've seen lots of unhappiness amongst the rich kids need to. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
And again, that's only to a certain extent, right? Like, and this is like a real stereotypical example, and I don't mean to say this of all parents and children of divorce, right? But there are certainly those kids that, like, the parents try to just buy them things because they feel guilty, right? And that doesn't always work. In fact, it rarely ever works, right? So, yeah, I don't mean to say that money just buys you happiness, right? But yeah.
Right, because I grew up middle class, blue collar, working family, and we didn't travel. We went to the cabin. Like, we have a family cabin up north in McGregor, Minnesota. And when I was growing up, my mom, my brother, and I...
People are going to dox your cabin now.
There's lots of cabins up there. My mom, my brother, and I, and then my mom's sister, my aunt, my 2 cousins, and my grandma, we would spend like 2 weeks a summer up there. And I have like just the best memories from that. Like going into town and going to the laundromat and then going to the local general store and buying Teen Bop magazines and 25-cent Kit Kats, and like we would earn money by washing dishes for grandma or drying dishes, and then she'd give us money and we'd buy candy. Like, I just have and like the station wagon. We were talking about this morning. My aunt and uncle had the station wagon with the 2 seats that faced the back. So, like, we'd all pile in there. That was super fun.
Those are back now.
We just had, like,
Tesla Model S has the optional rear-facing seats.
So, like, yeah, we didn't take these extravagant vacations. My parents, the last time they traveled, just the 2 of them, was their honeymoon, and they've been married for 42 years. So, I mean, we didn't travel. Like, we didn't fly anywhere.
Oh, Mom moved to Washington away from her family in New York when they got married. That's a long...
That's across the country. Yeah. We, when I got older, we still went to the cabin, but in high school, middle school, high school years, we did camping trips with other families, and that was a blast. We had so much fun. I have such good memories of those kind of trips. And then, we both have had different experiences growing up, and we hope to kind of combine those for Lucas. Best of both worlds. So,
okay.
Next question.
Moving on.
Where's your cursor? There it is. I see it. I saw it.
I don't.
It's right there.
Okay.
It's right there.
It's hard to see the white cursor on this frickin' salmon background. Curse you, salmon background.
How do you feel about your relationship with your mother? It's great. It's great.
Yeah.
I have a great
relationship
with my mother.
It's fine.
My mom and I are really close.
Yeah. Of course. Okay, so like in my case, my mom is my only remaining parent. My dad died like almost 13 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
And she's had some health issues, so she's had to rely on my sister and more specifically my sister, but also myself quite a bit more in recent years. So, yeah.
Yeah, my mom has had to rely on me for other reasons. I can hear. But my mom and I are very close. We've been close my whole life. Yeah, my mom and I have a great relationship. We have a lot of like things that the 2 of us do, like our things. That's changed now in a COVID world, but yeah, and now getting to see her as a grandma is kind of cool. So, I mean, she's been a grandma, right? Like my brother has 2 kids, but seeing her as a grandma to my kid is cool. So, yeah.
25.
Make 3 true we. That's a tongue twister. Make 3 true we statements each. For example, We are both in this room feeling ... I don't what?
Each other? I don't get it.
Touching.
We're both in this room
me.
feeling. What?
For example, so like 3 true we statements
Okay.
that are true. We have a son.
Who we love.
Huh?
Who we love.
Oh, we love our son.
I mean, I feel like that sort of by default is like, well, yeah.
We love beer.
We love beer.
Beer's is gone.
Yes.
Would you like to make some we statements while I get you more beer since I'm closest to the door?
We would like some more beer, as in the royal we. How about that? It doesn't say don't use the royal we, so there. We would like some more beer, please. Thank you. We are both very open and honest folks about our lives, just in general. Not only, I mean, we're here on the internet hanging out, talking about our marriage, but also in our lives, in our struggles, in
Yes.
even in positive stuff too. So,
Hold on. I gotta top it up.
okay.
I gotta finish the picture.
Brian and Meredith love to travel.
Yes, we do too, now that we can kind of afford it. Well,
Yeah.
when we were able to start affording it, we love to doing it. We love to talk. So do we.
We have a lot of the same values.
We do. We do have a lot of, which we were just talking about how, we don't necessarily have a ton of like interests in common, but at our foundational core, what we grew up being taught by our parents are very similar, which is kind of why we work, even though we don't have a lot of the same interests, right? We were talking about that earlier, yes.
Yeah, and I think that's important. That's an important distinction to make, and we were talking about that before about like, well, yeah, we don't have a lot of those common interests, but we still have a lot of things in common that we
Right.
agree on, and
Right.
how that we should live our lives, and the things that we want out of life.
How to parent.
So, yeah, parenting decisions. Yeah.
We love each other.
You said that like, right?
No, I'm like, isn't that a, aw, like, yeah.
That's where everyone else out there is supposed to go,
Aw.
ah.
You don't have to. It's fine.
And we're never gonna know if you don't.
Right. Okay, next one.
All right, next one. For anybody just hopping in here, we're talking about 36 questions that can help people fall in love, or might. Anyway, based on some actual psychological research.
Complete this sentence. I wish I had someone with whom I could share my enjoyment of running.
Oh, sure.
I've wanted him to start running with me for years. And the only reason he doesn't is because he doesn't want us to hate each other because he becomes too competitive.
Okay, so here's the thing. I am like ultra mega type A, and when I start doing things, I just go absolutely balls to the wall, into it, right? And I have to be the best of the best of the best of the best.
And I don't. I just enjoy... I just
And
like
if
to
I
feel...
start running a year from now, I'll be running laps around people.
Right.
And it won't, yeah. It'll just cause issues between us.
Right, and I enjoy running because I like to feel... it makes me feel accomplished when I do a 5K or a half marathon, which I'm hoping to do another one next year. Now, let me... Disclaimer, actually. I have someone that I run with. One of my really, really, really amazing, good best friends, Kate, and I started our running journey together when I was about to turn 30, because that was one of my goals for when I turned 30, is I wanted to do a 5K, because I had never done one. And now we're both approaching 38, and we're like on the same page with our running journey. We're on pause. We've been on pause for a while. But we do... there's a couple of 5Ks that we do every year together because we enjoy the actual race and the swag, but also just that thing we have in common, that we like work hard on. And we train, and so yeah, I sometimes do wish that was something that you would join in on, is the running, because we could do it together. We could
Sure.
exercise together. But next summer, hopefully, I'll get a bike, and then we can do that together. So yes, what is your...
So my answer is similar, and it goes back to one of the other questions where we were talking about things we have in common, and we don't have that many interests in common. So I wish I had somebody who could share like my nerdiness with.
I had a feeling that's what you were gonna say. I wish I had someone with whom I could share my love of different funky foods.
Funky foods? Like what funky foods? Like you're not talking about like a freaking durian fruit or something, right?
I
no,
get
like
that.
you were not. You were. I mean, sometimes you surprise me with the comments that you make. Where like you'll reference a movie or something like that.
Oh, sure.
First of all, you're not good at remembering like movie lines and things like that.
I'm terrible at it unless it's a movie I like that I love. Like, I can think off the top of my head, My Big Fat Greek Wedding and Pitch Perfect. Those are like probably my top 2 movies, which screams me. Like, that's totally my that's just that makes sense. That tracks. I remember lines from those movies and movies that I enjoy and that I watch on repeat. I enjoy a lot of other movies, but it has to be a movie that like I will watch again and again and again and again and again. Then I'll remember the lines. Sorry. It's just not my thing.
I know.
I
but
try.
once in a while you'll bust out
Like
something like
international foods. She said.
Okay.
Sure.
But yeah, once in a while you'll bust out a line from a movie and I'm like, oh, I didn't know that you knew that, or like I never expected you to bust out Lord of the Rings or whatever.
You also used to, not as
like
much.
that time that you Gandalfed a bee in our car.
You shall not pass. I did. I Gandalf a bee. It doesn't happen as much anymore, but when I started doing this, you were always shocked that I would like know music lyrics of songs you listened to.
Mm-hmm.
Because you didn't realize that when I was in like middle school, high school, I was listening to alternative rock. So I know a lot of songs from that time period that you have on your Pandora station. And he was like,
my
what?
musical taste stopped in about 2005-ish or so, up until very recently when the greatest thing to happen to rock and roll in the last 25 years happened, which is Greta Van Fleet. Mm. And if anyone wants to disagree with me, come in to chat and we will argue about it.
I'm going to come at you. Just kidding. I don't know. I have nothing. No leg to stand on there. I'm just challenging.
They're the best thing to happen to rock in 25 years.
All right.
Hands down.
I believe you. You're a rock guy. Damn, Gina. Yeah, damn, Gina. I say that all the time, too. Yeah.
All right, moving on to the next question of 36 things that might make you fall in love with somebody else.
If you were going to become a close friend with your partner, please share what would be important for her or him or her to know.
They, them, whatever.
Too late.
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, right. So this is one of those questions as somebody, as a couple that have been together for 16 and a half years, like it's hard to answer this one, right? Like...
I mean, I guess my big thing that I always bring up is that I come from a deaf family, that I'm fluent in American Sign Language, and that brings about its own quirks in my personality. I always put that on the table because it does define a lot of who I am.
Sure. That makes sense. Yeah. So for me, so if I was going to answer this like you and I had just started dating,
like we were at Olive Garden and you were trying to eat your food slow?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
If anyone missed that story, go back,
Last week?
Mm-hmm. And you can hear that story on the videos on demand.
Yeah.
They're in our channel. You can watch them. I think you have to be a follower to do it, but click the button. So this goes back to if we were like newly dating, right? I would say one of those things would have to be that you or that person needs to know that I own firearms. And
but you didn't.
I didn't at the
talking
time.
about now.
Like now,
Sorry,
yeah. If you and I were
sorry.
like newly dating, I think that that's such a and not to get like ultra political, but I think that's such a divisive topic that like you have to bring that up pretty early on.
Right. Yeah, Mary, that's a good point. Shouldn't you be close friends before marriage? Yeah, for sure.
Well,
I think,
for sure
yes.
before marriage, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think, and it's kind of funny because we had this conversation one day. I don't remember how it even came up, but about the idea of the best friend. I'm not going down that road.
This was when we were talking about the Brovorce and Sidley was...
No. You and I had this conversation like a couple years ago.
Mm.
And I don't want to talk about a best friend, one best friend, four best friends. That's not what but I said something about like my best friend, and he's like, you're like, aren't I your best friend? I said, well, no, Karen's my best friend. And you're like, but you're mine. Should I be yours? I was like, oh. And I've since changed my mind because it does make sense. Like, you know me better than anybody, but also I have my best friend, my female best friend.
Karen's worn your lingerie, though.
Karen has
I have not.
over her clothing as a joke, not like in a creepy
Not
way.
Not in a weird way
No.
or in a sexy way.
Okay, that is a weird way, over her clothes for fun. That is weird.
That is true.
But she has worn
Not in
that
a trying
on
to
her.
be sexy way.
No, just in a like
In a trying to be funny way.
I can actually envision that picture in my head of her in your room at the frat house, like when I was visiting you or something, and yeah. Anyway.
Okay, number 28.
Tell your partner what you like about them. Be very honest this time. Saying things that you might not say to someone you've just met. Like your
Boobs! I like boobs.
I was gonna pull a drop dead
That's whether I met you recently or 16 years ago.
Even post
Boobs.
child,
I like
even
boobs.
post baby. I was gonna do. I think it's a drop dead gorgeous line. Love your hair, hope you win. That's a Richard thing, but
No, I thought that was
it's not Legally Blonde.
Legally Blonde.
I don't know, Richard. If you're watching, which I doubt you are, help us. Or I thought it was drop dead gorgeous. Love your
I don't
hair,
know.
hope you win.
I don't know.
Doesn't matter. I love your hair. But no, for real. I mean, tell your partner what you like about
Ryan
them.
likes butts.
He's a butt guy. That's fine.
It's fair.
Yeah, this is kind of a weird question that we're probably not gonna like.
But what about
Corgi butts?
corgi butts?
Corgi butts. Corgi butts. Okay. Anyway, we can move on.
Yeah. Number 29 of 36 questions that might make you
We're gonna
fall in
finish
love with
tonight?
somebody.
Share
Maybe.
with your partner an embarrassing moment in your life. I mean, you've been with me for pretty much all of them, so
Really? You don't have any from before you were...
not really. I've probably stuck my foot in my mouth a bunch of times. Probably.
Okay, so
But-
I distinctly remember one, for whatever reason this sticks out in my mind. I was in 9th grade,
Mm-hmm.
and I was getting up from class, and you know, all your chairs are in a row, and you know, they've got the big desk attached to them.
So we're old and we can't see our screen from
Yeah! Hi, Expo Pink, how are you?
far away. We're old people. We can't see our screen.
Sorry, I'm old. I should just make the font bigger. That would probably fix that.
Yeah, dude. It's not that hard. Okay, so you're ninth
So
grade.
they got all these chairs. You got all the chairs with the desks attached to them in a row, and somebody else was getting up. We were getting dismissed from class, and I was like, I'm not gonna wait. I'm just gonna step over the chairs like a cool guy. Only the HVAC system came down out of the ceiling and went, you know, and I didn't think about that or look at that, and I stepped on top of one of the chairs and boom! Head straight into the HVAC, and then I just completely biffed it onto the ground while a bunch of people watched me do it.
You do have this like lack of awareness of your surroundings sometimes. Like you do like trip on things a lot. That is kind
I
of
do.
you do.
I do.
You do. Like, oh, the dogs is
Expo Pink, you're not doing so well. What's going on?
I can't actually. I'm sure a lot of it had to do with sticking my foot in my mouth and saying something embarrassing. I was a cheerleader, so maybe I fell. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I get embarrassed really easy, and that's part of it. Is like I just get embarrassed really easily when I do like anything. So I'm sure there was lots of times. I don't know. I don't have one moment in time. I'm sorry.
Oh, there's an extra X in there. Is it Expo Pink or Xpox Pink?
Pox. Lean in a little bit better. There you
Okay.
go. All right, go ahead. Next one.
All right. Well, if you want to talk about what's going on, feel free to type it in the chat in the meantime while you're doing that. Or if you want to do that, I'm going to go to the next question here.
Number 30. when did you last cry in front of another person? Oh, probably about 7 hours ago. We were having a conversation.
You're feeling a little overwhelmed.
Yes, parenthood is very overwhelming. Coronavirus is very overwhelming. Life is just very overwhelming. All of the things happening at one time. So I was just venting and crying to him earlier. It happens a lot. It's happened a lot.
Oh my God, Meredith, I quote that all the time from Saturday Night Live.
Oh, all the time. All the time. Oh, by myself? When did I last cry by myself? I don't... It was probably when I was pregnant and feeling just, like, super hormonal. I haven't cried by myself. No, I think, you know what? I think I did possibly when I was in the hospital, when you were not there. Probably, like, after Lucas was born, I think I had a moment where I was struggling because of, like, feeding and stuff. So I think I probably did. But it was related to the fact that I had a hard time feeding, that I was struggling with breastfeeding, which is completely normal in the first 3 days of your child's life. So we're reading the chat. Hold.
Yep. So we have something going on in chat here. All right, so basically me and my boyfriend haven't been doing well, and we've been together for a year now. A few days and things just don't fit.
You know,
anymore.
here's what I'll say about that. And I'm not... Disclaimer, we are not professionals. We're not licensed psychologists.
We've been married for 12 and a half years.
Yes,
we've been together for 16 and a half years. I went to school for family therapy. Yep. I'm not a therapist. Any
of our advice or any of our knowledge is purely based on our relationship and things that we've seen our friends go through.
So
and our parents.
what I guess I guess there would be some things that I would want to clarify. And that being, when you say they don't feel the same, has anything obvious change, like any dramatic events that have happened, and maybe not even like obvious stuff or things that seem like they're related to your relationship, like, you know, job changes, family things that are going on outside of the two of you, anything like that going on?
And Meredith, I get what you're saying. Sometimes you just have a cry because you feel sorry for yourself or you feel down on yourself or whatever. And yeah, like sometimes sometimes the reasons that I'm feeling upset or stressed out or overwhelmed, sometimes Bobby thinks I'm irrational or he doesn't really understand it and I don't really know how to communicate it with him. Sometimes I will maybe have a moment by myself, maybe, or with a friend, another mother, for example. Currently, right now, in the stage of life that I'm in, I don't want to be that person who's always like, well, because I'm a mom. Like, I don't want to be that person, but right now, that is, like, so at the front of my life and struggling to figure out how to be a mom and raise this human. I do sometimes have those moments where I just need to get it out of my system, you know? I get it. I totally get it.
He's been talking to many girls lately and hasn't really been giving me any attention. Okay. I mean, I get, so that makes me, I mean, here's the thing. My immediate thought is, okay, and I'm sure it probably is yours, if he's talking to other women, in what way is he talking to them? Is it stuff like he's had a long-term friend and they're just talking more and leaning on that person as a friend during maybe a difficult time that you two are having? Or the other obvious thing is like, okay, is he cheating on you or is he thinking about doing that, right?
Right.
And I don't mean for that to sound like you should jump to that conclusion unless it's obvious. But I guess I'm asking to clarify in what way is he talking to them, or do you know?
And what I want to say add to that is you and I were just talking about that earlier today.
What, cheating on each other?
No, about
no,
just
I'm kidding.
About Lord have mercy. About feeling disconnected with your partner, and you know, first of all, we have an almost 8-month-old, and bringing a new child into a marriage or a relationship is extremely stressful and extremely challenging and taxing on that relationship, and also like in a cheating way. Okay?
Like in a cheating way, okay.
And we live in, and what I want to say is
I'll let you finish, and then
I'm gonna let you finish.
finish.
Thanks, Kanye. The time we are living in right now, right? I mean, this is unprecedented. None of us have lived in this kind of world, this COVID-19 isolated world, we're forced into isolation. Not, you can feel isolated in your own way any time of your life, but where we're forced into seclusion and isolation. And so that can take a toll on a relationship, on any relationship, whether it's a marriage, whether it's a parental, child,
and
friend.
kids, which we'll talk about.
What?
And kids.
Yes, but
I'll expand on, but I want to go back to
right. So
this.
what I want to say is that might, and I think that, I'm not saying that it's not legit and that there isn't something really going on between the two of you, but I think that a lot of issues that are going on right now, I think we have to really evaluate, especially, well, personally for us, and say, is this really an issue, or is this an issue because we're really stressed out about what's happening in life right now?
And that could be part of it. So
Yeah.
if you're sure that this is like in a cheating way, like you've seen text messages and it's like very clearly, and I'm not saying that's not the case, right? Because I don't know, and I'm going to take your word for it. So if you're sure that that's the case, I would say this. The thing about cheating is people often think it's a symptom, often think it's the reason that people break up, but the reality is it's a symptom.
Right.
People look outside of their relationship because they're unhappy in the relationship they have now. And so the key is to figure out, we're in a healthy relationship. I'm not looking to cheat on you because I'm getting the things that I need
Which is
from our
interesting
relationship.
because I have spent a large portion of our relationship, and you know this, overcompensating because I have a fear of you cheating on me.
Which is
I know
irrational. But
I know.
my point, I guess, is this: that people that are happy in their relationship aren't seeking things outside of that relationship because they're getting all of those things from it.
Right.
And so I don't mean that to sound like placing blame on anybody, but what I'm getting at is that if that really is the case and you think he's cheating on you, there's a reason that there's something that he's not getting from the relationship, and maybe you're not getting something from the relationship either. It sounds like you've noticed that there's something weird going on, right?
Yeah.
So it sounds like both of you are not getting something from the other person that you're really wanting, and that's maybe causing him to go outside the relationship to look for it.
And communication is everything.
Going back to what you originally said was, you just don't feel like these things are the same anymore. I guess my question for you would be, what tells you that things aren't the same? What tipped you off to that?
Yeah. Do you want to share your answer to this while we're waiting for...
Yes. So while we're waiting for you to type that, if you want to share, feel free. If not, I understand. We're on the internet. I get it. And we're just random people.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, well, if you're going to do that, I'm going to go answer number 30 of the 36 questions that might make you fall in love with somebody else.
I don't know if have you cried in front of anyone other than me? Lately?
No.
Because the last time I remember you getting upset in front of me was when your mom was really sick. Is that the last time? Which was a couple of years, which is
when Lucas was born.
Oh, right. Sorry.
I mean, okay,
diluted.
Your stomach was cut open and, you were in pain. But yes, when they pulled him out of it, yes.
I remember that we did both cry. You're right.
Yes.
I remember that, yes. Sometimes, not to say that I don't remember that as an important moment in our life, but there's a giant fog in labor and delivery. So, no, I do remember that. We both cried. Yes.
So, for sure, that was the last time I cried.
Yes.
In front of somebody. Or
in front of a whole room full of strangers.
I don't know that I've cried on my own since then.
No. Okay.
No. Yeah.
Number 31. Are we going to finish these?
Probably.
We need more information for next week. Tell your partner something that you like about them already.
Again, this is one of those things where it's like...
Oh my god, I can't believe that I think you're funny. I can't believe that I already like your sense of humor. I cannot believe it. Stop it.
What? It's not the only thing I like about you.
It's the initial thing you like about me.
Sure. Yes.
Moving on.
But again, this is one of those things where it's difficult for us to talk about it because we've been married for 12 and a half years. So, we already know the things that we really like about each other. I can tell you a number of things besides boobs that I like about you, and you already know that.
Right.
So.
I will say, in this new phase of our life, I really like how much more you are interacting with Lucas. and how much more fun you seem to be having with Lucas.
I had your and to clarify that, I had trouble, and I've always said
Most
that
dads
if children could just come out of the womb at 3 months old, that would be wonderful, right?
That'd
and
be
and I had trouble with that because he's just this little like stupid blob that pees and poops and vomits and cries. That's not fun for me. He doesn't smile. He doesn't do goofy things. He's not learning anything. I can't teach him things.
It's not fun for me either, yo.
You know, now all of a sudden when he starts mimicking me, when I go,
Yeah.
it's hilarious.
They're having raspberry competitions. And who can be louder competitions.
Yeah.
It's great. Our house is so not quiet anymore. Okay. 3, 2. What, if anything, is too serious to be joked about? There's lots of things.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of shit that's too serious to be joked
So I don't know
about.
why,
Jesus.
if anything,
That's
lot
a
of
weird
things.
question. Like, what
I
the
think-
fuck?
I think that might be a question. That might be getting at, like, if you're dating. That might be getting at...
Okay, but still, just in general, societal
But
stuff.
that might be
like,
getting into trying to figure out what the other person takes very seriously and isn't willing to
true.
joke about.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
Like if you're
Like racist jokes or something, you know?
sure, I get what you're saying now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You're right. Like, yeah, we don't make jokes about racism or pedophilia or like all sorts of other things that to me in our mind, because we're just similar in that way, seems obvious. We don't joke about those things.
Right. Well, it's not true. I mean, you make jokes about yourself being Asian.
Well, okay, but that like that's
You don't
me
see it that
in my
way.
own.
You don't see it that way as a joke about racism. Okay.
Right,
Ryan's mom's mental health.
Sure. Like
Yeah, mental health is not. Yeah.
disabilities that people might have, mental health issues that people might have. Sure.
So let me say this, because this kind of goes to you making jokes about you being Asian, like, oh, small eyes. I will say, when we're talking about disabilities, like, it's so, one of the funniest things that my parents do cracks me up is if, like, my dad is trying to get my mom's attention, he'll, like, say her name and she'll walk away and he'll look at me and go, oh, she's so deaf. Like, I mean, like, that kind of stuff, right? Like, oh, deaf.
Mind you, this is a deaf man speaking about his deaf wife.
Right. So, like, or, if I worked with a student who graduated last year, who, like, sometimes the kid, like, other students would say, like, oh, did you hear that thing? Or, oh my God, did you hear that they swore in that, or whatever. And I'll, like, interpret, the conversation, and maybe I've interpreted that someone swore, but then the student would say, I mean, I'm deaf, so I didn't hear that. But, like, ha ha ha, no, I didn't, because I'm deaf. I'm a sign language interpreter, P.S., for those who don't know that about me. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's a great point that you brought up of if this were people that were just meeting each other or like 5-6 months into a relationship, this might be important to know. Like, what are
don't even touch on X, Y, Z.
Right. What are your like hard limits of like we don't joke about
I don't know
homosexuality
that
or racism or that kind of stuff.
Check.
Get that.
Yeah, I think that we both probably would have said those things back when we were dating.
So,
yeah. Okay.
Fair enough.
All right.
Before we move on to the next one, X-Pac Pink, if you're still hanging out there and you're typing or whatever, that's great. If not, again, just to kind of reiterate, cheating is the symptom of people not getting something from the relationship. And so figure out what that is, right?
Yeah.
Figure out what it is that the other person's not getting. And that's going to take a conversation of what is missing here.
We have a lot of fun on this show, and we have a lot of fun in our life together. But I will say time and time again, and so will Bobby, that relationships are work.
They are.
We come off as having an easy relationship because we work really hard at it to make sure that we are solid.
Here's the other thing, folks. Like it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of little conversations here and there.
Communication
on a regular basis.
Yes.
So when you add it up, it looks like it's a lot, but it's just these 10-30 minute conversations with each other, every couple of days, every couple of weeks, where we sort things out. We understand, okay, here's why you're stressed out. Here's what I can do for you. Those sorts of things.
Right. And,
so that it doesn't build up to, fuck this, I'm out. Or I'm going to go look for somebody else who's not going to do X, Y, and Z.
And even this long into it, which I realize there may be some of you watching who've been married much longer than us. But, you know, even 16 and a half years into our relationship, I mean, there are still things that come up that I don't maybe know how to talk about, you know, because we are in a new phase of our life. New emotions, new feelings, new hormones, new whatever are coming up, new experiences, new perspectives. And so, like, we're always evolving. And so even now, like, we still have to have those conversations.
Ooh, I want to go back to kids. So one of the things that we talked about earlier, because you were talking about how we felt disconnected as of late.
Mm-hmm.
And this is every culture across the board.
Would you guys mind if Ryan and I did this type of broadcast? Like,
you mean
like right now?
Right now, or with us, or what?
Or like on your own show?
So here's the thing, right? Like, if you look at studies of marital satisfaction, and this is across the fucking board, right? Like, and it's almost such a strong response that it's like too obvious to ignore. Almost everybody across all cultures says the worst time in their marriage is right when they have kids, right? So if you look at it, everyone goes, oh yeah, our marriage was great, and then it dips down a little bit, and then they have kids, and then it dips down, and as those kids get older, it gets better and better and better and better and better again. So kids are fucking stressful, okay? They're great, but they're really stressful.
Right. We adore Lucas. I oftentimes say that I love him so much it hurts. Sometimes, like, I just adore him so much, and I love when he goes to daycare sometimes because it gives me just a minute to breathe, but then I also miss him when he's away. Like, it's this constant conflict of emotions, and that doesn't help. That's part of the issue, is these conflicting emotions. So Meredith, you're saying,
oh yeah,
no,
like
do whatever you want.
Whatever.
Just don't do it Wednesdays at 8:00.
Yeah, don't do it Wednesdays at 8:00.
I mean, whatever. You do you, man.
Or Mondays at 9 when we have D&D.
Or Mondays at 7 when I have Zumba, because I'd like to watch.
Yeah, that too.
I teach Zumba. Mondays at 7 o'clock. If you want more information, let him know. Do you want to go to the next question? Because we're almost done.
Yes, I will go to the next question. Number 33.
Ooh, if you were to die this evening, this is so morbid. I can't.
This evening? Okay.
With no opportunity to communicate with anyone, what would you most regret not having told someone, and why haven't you told them yet? Oh, oof. God, I can't say this on the air.
Wow. You can't?
There's some, I don't know.
Okay, is this something you'll tell me when we go off air?
It's some things that you already know about. That are not to you. There are things that we've been talking about in the last couple of weeks. Other people in our life.
Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Ooh. I mean, I guess maybe telling my daycare provider how much I appreciate her. That sounds superficial, but for real, like, I don't think I tell her I appreciate her enough. Because she's stayed open during COVID, and she continues to take care of our kid.
Even though he's the only one there.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
Well, her own son, but...
Well, there's a family coming back. But, I mean, yeah, I don't think I tell my family that I love them enough. I mean, they know, but I don't think I tell them that enough. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a hard question to answer because by virtue of being on the internet live, we're basically just telling that person what we haven't told them and why we regret not telling them. So if all of a sudden I was like, hey, fuck you, whoever, like, or oh yeah, this thing from 20 years ago, I was really mad about it still, or, you know, whatever, right? Like,
there is a person in my life, a person who used to be in my life, they're no longer in my life, that I would maybe at some point in my life would have liked to have told them that I forgive them and I wish them well. Because I never got a chance to do that. So I think maybe that. But I have a friend that cut off all communication, and I want to make her hear me about how much I care about her and miss her. Yeah. I don't know. I do have a friend like that, kind of, Meredith. Like, not completely cut off communication, but somebody that I would like to reestablish a friendship with, and just make sure that they know that I still care about them even though we've lost touch. I don't know.
Meredith, what about the other part of the question? Why haven't you told them?
I don't have an answer for that myself.
I don't really have... Okay, so anyone who doesn't know me, I'm a fucking loudmouth. Like, I'm very vocal. I have very little filter. And so there are very, very few things that I don't think about people and haven't already told them.
True.
So, like, I guess I don't have a lot of, like, regrets about not telling people things.
Sure. Yeah.
That's hard. There's only No, they know about that. Yeah, my mom knows about that. Okay. Yeah, no, I can't think of anything actually.
Yeah. Well, moving on. We'll wait. We'll pause when if Meredith has any more to say about that. But
Also, my thing, and you know about it, would be like not something I would tell somebody that I'm like dating within the first 6 months. So,
Sure.
You know.
Sure. Your house containing everything you own catches fire. After saving your loved ones and pets, you have time to safely make a final dash to save any one item. What would it be and why? Hold. She blocks my messages, calls. I have to go through her parents, or she'll. Oh, sure. Okay. That makes sense. As to why you wouldn't be able to tell her.
Okay. Your house containing everything you own catches fire. After saving your loved ones... You didn't get to the end of it because we...
Oh, save any one item.
Yeah.
What would it be and why?
Make one final dash to save them.
If I wasn't wearing it, my wedding ring. Because that is like the most important thing. Like possession that I have, probably. But if I was wearing it...
Okay, so...
I don't know.
Saving loved ones. So Lucas is fine. Chewie and Nemo are fine. You're fine.
Yep. We're all fine. Lucas? You said Lucas. Lucas is fine.
I don't have a lot of sentimental stuff.
No, and Lucas isn't at the age where he has, like, favorite things yet either.
No.
Not my wedding album? Maybe my wedding album.
Yeah, I didn't
Maybe that. Yeah.
I didn't, like... take a lot of stuff with me. So when I moved out of my mom's house at 23, I didn't take a lot of stuff with me because I'm not a like
he's not a stuff thing.
I'm not a super cluttery keep stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Even though literally behind me is like cluttery keep stuff, right? Yeah, there's more above me and in front of us. But like,
yeah, I think maybe even before my ring, because I can replace that, I would get our wedding photos, because those are very important
we can't
to
replace
me.
those. Yeah,
and I don't think that company even exists anymore. So I can replace the ring.
And so at this point, like literally all of it to me in my mind, it's all replaceable, right? Like, and this goes back to the way that I was brought up, and
my cell phone charger. Just kidding.
And that is very affluent, quite frankly. And so to me, like. One of the things that my dad always used to say, well, it's just money. It's replaceable, right? When it came to a lot of things, it's replaceable. And so this already covers all the shit I can't replace.
Yeah.
So what can't I replace? I mean, pretty much every photo I've ever freaking taken is backed up on the internet somewhere. So my phone's not that important. My car's a lease, so I really don't freaking care if that thing burns to the ground because it's covered under gap coverage.
This?
Yeah, but I can't really just run in and make a mad dash and grab my whole computer all at once.
You
That's
can't.
going to take all the speakers and the subwoofer and the 3 monitors with it and like...
While I'm trying to like hold on our child and our dogs.
But again, that's just stuff. It's replaceable, right?
Yeah. True.
Guns, replaceable. Computer, replaceable. My cool gaming table, replaceable. My car, replaceable. It's all just fucking stuff you can replace with money.
Yeah.
And again, I understand how that comes off to some people, right? Oh, well, you can afford those. You're right. That's my privilege to kind of say those kinds of things.
We also have insurance, so.
But it's like, Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't have anything of like mega. Maybe okay. Ready? The stuffed animals that we're getting, the Winnie the Pooh stuffed animals we're getting Lucas.
Oh yeah, we have some stuffed animals that Bobby gave me for Christmas several years ago when we were dating, and there was when the Disney store did white with blue clothes Disney stuffed animals, so all of them. And he got me Winnie the Pooh, Tigger, and Eeyore. And they're white with blue sweaters and blue hats and blue whatever else. And I don't remember why they were important to us. I quite frankly don't remember why you bought those.
I don't know.
I don't remember. But you did. And I love them. And they're in Lucas's closet right now because he's almost 8 months old and he can't have anything in his crib with him. But we do plan to give those to him because I don't need stuffed animals.
Yeah. So I guess in my mind, it's more sentimental value for him.
Right.
Than
because they were from you to me, and now they're his. So they're like part of our story, if you will. Yeah. And so, yes, same with Meredith, teddy bear that Ryan gave her when he proposed. Almost done. Of all the people in your family, whose death would you find most disturbing and why? Ooh, disturbing?
Yeah, disturbing? Yours? Lucas's? Well, Lucas's.
No, no. Okay, so I'm taking this as people who have already died. Like,
no, it says would you, not did you.
Oh, would you find most disturbing? Oh, yeah. Yours and Lucas. Yeah. I mean,
I think I've already proven to you that I'm pretty fucking reckless.
Right. But that doesn't mean that I'm okay with, like, you dying.
Well, sure, I get that. Yeah, I guess Lucas's. Or yours, but...
Ooh. And, you know, I will say, we had this conversation, not this conversation, but I'm putting this way because the computer's in front of me that has the question on it.
So, just to interrupt real quick, these questions get more... The whole point of these 36 questions is that they get more and more, like,
personal
revealing and personal, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. When we were getting closer and closer to my due date, we had the conversation. We had no reason to believe that my delivery was going to be written.
Yeah.
We had no reason to believe it would be risky or dangerous. We had no reason to believe that. But we had that conversation of, if it comes down to me or Lucas. And that was quite the conversation. It's very, very morbid. But that's a conversation we really had to have.
Yeah.
Because
so,
it's a reality that could have happened.
That note,
it didn't happen.
Okay, on that note, we're talking about, you know, relationships or maintenance and work and all that kind of stuff, right? Sometimes you have to have these really fucked up conversations.
Yes.
You have to. Because...
They're terrible. Yeah. It's terrible to have a conversation 3
about
weeks...
I'm picking you over my unborn son.
3 weeks before our due date. And...
By the way, I picked her in most cases. Unless it was very clear that she wasn't... You know, if it was like a 90% chance she wasn't going to make it and Lucas would, obviously, sure, my pragmatism takes over there. But
Right.
If they said 50-50, pick one.
Yeah. And I don't remember what I said. I think I was okay with that choice. I think I was okay with you making that choice, even though it would have been really, really... It would have... And I think having the conversation before, knowing you would have made that choice, I'd like to think that I would eventually, after some therapy, have been able to come out not resenting him for making that choice.
And that to me was one of those things where it's like, part of why I said, well, I would pick you, because exactly the flip side of that coin is, well, would I resent him?
Right, and then also having to answer to my family. Like, there's a 50-50 chance, why didn't you pick Sarah? Like, it affects more people than just us. You know, anyway, this is a totally a big tangent, but setting up Will's health directives.
Exactly.
No,
and even though, like, I mean, you guys are only slightly older than we are, but it's stuff you got to talk about, because who knows?
Especially now that we have a kid. You know, setting up legal guardians, setting up, which we need to make a documentation of that. But yeah, I mean, just all those. I mean,
It's okay. Lucas's legal guardian is also our attorney. It's fine.
Yes, who cannot draft a will. But anyway, so it's conversations that you have to have, because if you don't ever talk about it, like my parents are very open with my brother and I about like where all their paperwork is, what they have set up for themselves for if they need long-term care, if whatever, who is power of attorney, who's this, who's that,
all
who's
super
this.
important stuff to know about.
And where are their documents? Where are the papers? Because when my grandma died, like, we found most of her papers except her life insurance policy was the one thing we couldn't find. And she was very organized. Couldn't find it.
I think there was only one random password somewhere on something that was somewhat irrelevant because it was like a very minuscule amount of money that my dad...
For your dad?
Yeah, for my dad when he died, yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah, they've known each other less time than we have each other.
Oh,
right.
Sure.
And that's, again, part of the crucial / difficult conversations and having communication with each other is you have to talk about this kind of stuff. And if you're going to commit to each other, you have to have these conversations. It doesn't matter if you are about to get married or even married 16 and a half years or 12 and a half years. Right. You have to have those conversations because that person becomes the person who's responsible for what happens after you die. And
that again goes back to the conversations we've had even on the internet talking about have these conversations before.
Yeah. Right.
Before it's too fucking late.
Right.
Like when you get into a relationship, do you want to have kids? Do you want to get married? Mm-hmm. Like, hello.
Right.
You need to know these things.
Right.
And I say that like it's obvious, but there are people out there that I know that don't have these conversations.
Yep, because they're too hard. Well, too fucking bad. Have them. Last question. Let's do it. Let's finish this.
Number 36 of 36 questions that might make you fall in love with somebody.
Okay, this is weird. Share a personal problem and ask your partner's advice on how he or she might handle it. Also, ask your partner to reflect back to you how you seem to be feeling about the problem you have chosen. Well, I mean, I feel like we do this every single day.
We literally do this
all the time.
Okay, so again, going back to, hey, have these conversations and have them regularly and it won't seem like it's so much fucking work and it won't build up to the point where you're screaming at each other or it won't build up to the point where whatever other horrible things happen, and I don't mean specifically us, but where you're throwing things at each other or you're hitting each other or you're threatening to leave or you're looking outside your relationship for things that you're not getting in your current one, right? Like that's exactly what this is on a very regular basis. And maybe it's not how you might handle something, but it's here's what I'm dealing with. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Or here's the issue that I'm having, or here's how I'm feeling about what you did.
Right.
Right? So just change that little snippet about how they might handle the situation. Now granted, sometimes our conversations start that way because it's hey, here's this thing that happened at work or whatever, right?
Yeah, that happens too. Yep.
It does, yeah, for sure.
Or here's what happened with a friend or a family member or whatever, yeah.
But a lot of it more so has to do with, more often than not, is, hey, here's this thing that you did that upset me for X, Y, and Z reason.
Here's what I'm struggling with in parenting. How can I fix that? Or how can I deal with that? Yeah.
So I like that this was the last question because it ties back into everything we've been continuing to go back to is fucking talk to each other.
Don't yell, please. Our child is right above you. Click the next button because I'm curious if this is the 4-minute situation or this is the... Okay, here we go. Congratulations. You've answered all the questions. Now for the hard part. In order to solidify your love, you have to look into your partner's eyes for 4 minutes in silence. It's hard and you'll squirm, but you'll learn an incredible amount. Good luck. ... I'm good.
We're not going to do that.
Not on the air.
I mean, if you just noticed, that was awkward on its own.
I love my husband. I'll look at my husband all day long, but that's weird.
That was weird.
Yeah.
And again, I feel like this... So I would be really genuinely curious to see two people that have just recently started dating, like within, 6 months, to do this. I would be super curious to see what happens. I don't think we know anybody like that we can force them to do this. Not force them. Coerce them in some way.
No, I don't have... No. Especially in this COVID world, right? Where dating probably really, really sucks. I would imagine.
Oh God, I can't even imagine that.
I just had a virtual lunch with my 2 work besties a couple weeks ago, and one of them is trying to date, and yeah, it's so hard right now because like you're trying to get to know each other virtually and still see each other, but then like when do you decide, yeah, I think I want to take the risk, not take the leap, take the risk to meet you in person.
Meredith knows a couple. Okay.
Ask them to do it, man.
Ask them to do it. If you're going to start a show on the internet, have them do it. It might be really interesting. I would be fascinated to watch that.
Watch the couple do
this
on air?
I want to watch somebody do this and see what happens. Or at least ask them to do it and then hear about the results. That would be fascinating to see what happens.
Yeah. So that's the 36. So we don't know what we're going to talk about next week because that was, it's kind of what we've been doing.
We weren't sure how long this was going to take. Honestly, I didn't think this would take 3 weeks. So, yeah, this was 36 questions that might make people fall in love with each other. And then 4 minutes of awkwardly staring at each other.
No, thank you. I'll pass. Thank you, though.
So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think we'll think of something. If anyone has suggestions, feel free. I feel like I should have, like, a suggestion box somewhere, but,
Plus, my friend, the female of the hetero couple with me. This is great. Well, great. Let's have them do it, man.
Let's do it.
Yeah, so that's like kind of all we have, and we're a little bit over our time anyway. So, yeah.
I wouldn't really have a hard time on it.
I do. I'm an old lady who needs to go to bed.
That's right. You turned into a pumpkin.
I turned into such a pumpkin, and I've been drinking beer, so it like speeds up
the pumpkin.
The tiredness. Yeah, the pumpkinness. Oh, sure. It's a New York Times article. If you just Google 36 questions New York Times, it's like the first thing that comes up.
Yeah, actually, that I definitely should.
Or he'll link it.
So this
is the
for
graphic.
anyone out there wondering, is the actual 36 questions. And then, yeah, I will send this. Meredith, I'll send you this on Facebook here. So
yeah. We'll think of something for next week. We don't really know what. I mean, we could just, shoot the breeze for an hour. I don't know. We'll see.
We could. And thanks to everyone who's maybe new here and doesn't know who we are or came to hang out with us.
Yeah.
What was EXO? There's 2 X's in there.
Pox.
Dang it.
X-Pox.
Yes, X-Pox Pink. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us. If you have, like, other questions or you want to talk privately, like, not in front of the entire internet, feel free to send me a message. We can talk more privately.
Yes, so tune in on Sunday at 1 Central Time, right? You'll be doing your beer show.
Yes, Sunday at 1 Central. We'll be talking about craft beer. I don't exactly know what we're talking about there either. We had a guest that had to move their schedule back a week. So we'll figure something out there. Monday I have D&D with Miss Mary Berry at 9 o'clock Central Time.
Truth or Dare. Oh, goodness gracious, no. That would go so bad. That was Meredith's idea. Truth or Dare.
Oh, sure.
And I'm not on Twitch, but like I said, I do teach a Zumba class Monday nights at 7 p.m. That goes through August 10th. So if you are interested, send him a message. If you know how to reach me, send me a message. I'm happy to give you the info on joining my class because we have a lot of fun. Even though it's virtual, we have a blast. So thank you for watching the Love is Being Stupid Together show. Have a great week and weekend. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Bye. Oh wait, you know what we should do before we go? We're gonna go raid somebody. How about that?
Oh, right.
How
I don't
about that?
understand
That's a
this.
thing that we do. We raid people. All
Raid!
right. Yeah. Let's see.
Is that Marble Guy on? The cooking guy, maybe?
All right, so we're gonna go raid 8-Bit Community. That is my buddy Chris, who is a local streamer. He does a lot of food and drink stuff, so he does a lot of cooking on stream. So we're gonna go raid him on his other channel that he does. So they're doing marbles. That's kind of the new craze here on Twitch. So when you go in there, when the new round starts, don't do it if they're in the middle of a round, but when the new round starts, type in !play, and then that will get you into the next round.
Cool.
All right. Ready, set, raid.
Bye!
Bye.